Jack Della Maddalena is brimming with confidence ahead of his highly anticipated bout with Islam Makhachev at UFC 322. Set to headline the event on November 15 at Madison Square Garden, the Australian welterweight champion is determined to make a statement against one of the sport's most dominant fighters. Della Maddalena, fresh off capturing the welterweight title from Belal Muhammad in May, is stepping into the octagon for the first time since that victory. Across the cage will be Islam Makhachev, the former lightweight king who vacated his title earlier this year to move up to welterweight. The clash represents a pivotal moment for both fighters, a chance for Maddalena to cement himself as one of the best in the world, and for Makhachev to prove his dominance extends across weight classes. Speaking with the media during a training session in Australia, Della Maddalena made it clear he is preparing for nothing less than a spectacular finish. "I'm going to go for it," he said. "Obviously, the best-case scenario would be to get the finish. I can see it happening, blowing the roof off MSG, taking out the pound-for-pound number one. A finish would be the dream." The 28-year-old striker also acknowledged Makhachev's elite grappling and wrestling pedigree, predicting that the Russian will likely turn to his wrestling game early. "It's going to start on the feet, and we'll go from there," Della Maddalena explained. "I think he'll probably try to get into wrestling early. Looking back at the Belal fight, he probably sees that the mistake was not wrestling early enough. I'm expecting the first round to involve some grappling exchanges." Makhachev, widely regarded as one of the sport's most complete fighters, has built his career on suffocating pressure, dominant ground control, and increasingly sharp striking. However, Della Maddalena believes his own crisp boxing, relentless forward movement, and fight IQ give him the tools to pull off the upset. The Australian has earned a reputation as one of the best pure boxers in the UFC, combining precision striking with a high-paced offensive style. Adding intrigue to the matchup, former featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski, who fought Makhachev twice, recently expressed his belief that Della Maddalena has a legitimate chance of finishing the former lightweight champion. "Jack's boxing and the pressure he brings are incredible," Volkanovski told Submission Radio. "He definitely has the ability to get a finish." The main event at UFC 322 promises to be one of the year's most compelling contests. With Makhachev attempting to assert himself at 170 pounds and Della Maddalena looking to solidify his reign as champion, both fighters have much at stake. Whether the fight plays out on the feet or on the ground, fans can expect high drama when two of the sport's most dangerous athletes collide at Madison Square Garden. When Mateusz Gamrot was announced as the replacement opponent for Charles Oliveira at UFC Rio, the matchup immediately generated excitement, and for good reason. Originally slated to face Rafael Fiziev at the October 11 event in Rio de Janeiro, Oliveira now finds himself up against a very different type of opponent. While Fiziev is known for his flashy, highlight reel striking, Gamrot brings a grinding wrestling style and a relentless top game that could pose unique challenges to the former UFC lightweight champion. Gamrot, who has long been vocal about his desire to face elite opponents, stepped in as the replacement fighter after lobbying the UFC for the opportunity. This switch drastically alters the dynamics of the bout. Fiziev's stand-up attacks, based on precision and explosive combinations, are a stark contrast to Gamrot's foundation in grappling, takedowns, and positional control. The Polish contender has earned a reputation as one of the lightweight division's most durable and well-rounded athletes, combining high-level wrestling with improving striking. Despite Oliveira's elite jiu-jitsu credentials, he holds the UFC record for submission victories. Gamrot isn't shying away from the ground game. Speaking recently on the UFC's Unfiltered podcast with Matt Serra, Gamrot expressed supreme confidence in his ability to engage Oliveira on the mat. "Jiu-jitsu and wrestling are my background," Gamrot said. "It's in my DNA. I feel like I can roll with him on the ground. I think it's going to be an epic fight on the ground for sure because I'm not afraid. I will go, take him down, and try to roll with him." Gamrot also emphasized that while grappling remains his bread and butter, he is preparing for a mixed battle across all disciplines. "This is going to be an all-around fight," he explained. "I want to exchange punches with him, exchange wrestling. I want to test myself against him everywhere, on the feet, in the clinch, and on the ground." This level of confidence is notable given Oliveira's dangerous submission game. Known as one of the most lethal finishers in UFC history, Oliveira has proven time and again that even seasoned grapplers can find themselves trapped in his guard or submitted during scrambles. Yet Gamrot appears unfazed, signaling that his wrestling pressure and cardio could be the keys to neutralizing Oliveira's strengths. Fans can expect a high-stakes battle in Rio. Oliveira is looking to re-establish himself in the title picture after recent setbacks, while Gamrot aims to secure the signature win of his career and catapult himself into lightweight title contention. With such contrasting styles, Oliveira's high-octane striking and world-class submissions against Gamrot's relentless wrestling and top control, the October 11th clash promises fireworks. Whether it turns into a striking showcase or a grappling chess match, this matchup stands out as one of the most intriguing on the UFC Rio card. The UFC 305 card in Perth has taken yet another major blow after multiple fights fell through at the last minute, and fans are now calling for Dana White to release heavyweight fighter Justin Tafa. First, news broke that Oban Elliott's bout against Jonathan Madieff was cancelled due to illness. However, the more significant hit to the card came when the co-main event between Justin Tafa and Lewis Sutherland was scrapped just hours before weigh-ins. Initially reported as illness-related, the true cause quickly surfaced: Tafa's severe weight-cutting issues. According to Sutherland, Tafa failed to make the heavyweight limit and was hospitalized after attempting a drastic cut. In a video posted to social media, Sutherland expressed his frustration over the situation. "I've got some bad news. My opponent had to pull out of the fight this morning on weigh-in day. He couldn't make the weight and had to go to the hospital. The fight's off. Hopefully, the UFC gets me another opportunity soon. I turned up professional, ready to go, and ready to put on a show. Unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles." Sutherland's statement confirmed widespread rumors about Tafa's preparation. Reports claim Tafa was forced to cut a staggering 78 pounds in the days leading up to weigh-ins, a figure considered extreme even by UFC standards. This incident marks the sixth time Tafa has withdrawn from a scheduled UFC fight, adding to a growing reputation for unreliability. Fans and commentators alike have been quick to call for action. Many point out that Tafa has missed weight at heavyweight before, an uncommon occurrence given the division's 265-pound limit. His repeated pullouts have not only disrupted fight cards but also inconvenienced opponents like Sutherland, who traveled across the world only to see his fight cancelled. Criticism has also extended to Tafa's brother, Junior Tafa, who alongside Justin has been involved in 12 cancelled bouts since 2022. Both brothers have faced backlash for what the MMA community sees as unprofessionalism and poor preparation. The frustration has escalated to the point where some fans are openly demanding Dana White cut both fighters from the roster. Commentators noted that Justin Tafa is one of the very few heavyweights in UFC history to miss the 265-pound limit, an error viewed as unacceptable at the sport's highest level. Calls on social media have been blunt: if you miss weight by 8 pounds as a heavyweight, you should be cut. Others criticized the Tafa camp's apparent reliance on severe last-minute water cuts rather than proper conditioning, calling it reckless and unfair to opponents. As Dana White faces mounting pressure to address the situation, the UFC will have to weigh the value of keeping Tafa on its roster against the backlash from fighters and fans alike. With UFC Perth already weakened by multiple cancellations, the promotion's handling of the Tafa situation could set a precedent for how it deals with repeat offenders in the future. Following Khamzat Chimaev's dominant wrestling performance at UFC 319, Joe Rogan has expressed strong skepticism about Dricus du Plessis' chances of ever defeating the surging contender. Speaking on his popular podcast, Rogan analyzed the fight in depth and shared why he believes the gap in skill, particularly in grappling, between the two athletes is simply too wide to overcome. Chimaev and du Plessis fought in August, with Chimaev ending du Plessis' reign as champion by taking him down repeatedly and controlling the action from top position. Despite du Plessis' string of upset victories leading into the bout, including wins over Robert Whittaker, Israel Adesanya, and Sean Strickland, Chimaev was a clear betting favorite. He more than lived up to expectations, putting on a wrestling clinic in neutralizing du Plessis' power striking throughout the fight. Rogan, who had initially praised du Plessis' rise to the top of the middleweight division, noted how remarkable Chimaev's performance was in hindsight. While speaking with MMA legend Mark Kerr on his podcast, Rogan pointed out the sharp contrast between Du Plessis' pre-fight reputation and the reality after sharing the octagon with Chimaev. "It's crazy," Rogan said. "People were calling Dricus one of the greatest middleweights of all time before this fight. Look at what he did. He knocked out Robert Whittaker, beat Israel Adesanya, beat Sean Strickland twice. He was on a run. But after that fight with Khamzat, you just have to appreciate that level of dominance against a world champion. It's wild." Rogan emphasized that even though some fans found the fight uneventful because it went to a decision, the level of control Chimaev displayed was extraordinary. According to Rogan, this was not simply a case of a fighter winning on points but of a former champion being completely neutralized by another athlete's grappling skills. The UFC commentator then made his boldest statement yet, suggesting that Du Plessis may never be able to beat Chimaev no matter how much he improves. "I don't think he's ever going to beat that guy," Rogan stated. "I don't think there's enough time in the world to bridge that gap." This candid assessment underscores just how highly Rogan rates Chimaev's potential at middleweight and beyond. Known for his relentless pressure, suffocating wrestling, and underrated striking, Chimaev has quickly become one of the UFC's most feared competitors. Du Plessis, on the other hand, built his reputation on durability, power, and a knack for upsetting the odds. But Rogan clearly believes those attributes aren't enough to overcome Chimaev's dominance on the mat. As the UFC's middleweight division continues to evolve, fans are left wondering whether Du Plessis can ever adjust his game to compete with Chimaev at this level. For now, at least in Joe Rogan's eyes, the UFC Perth fight card has taken a major hit with the cancellation of its scheduled heavyweight clash between Justin Tafa and Lewis Sutherland. Initially slated to be one of the main attractions on the card, the bout was called off at the last moment. The UFC publicly attributed the withdrawal to illness on Tafa's side, but new information from Sutherland suggests the real reason may have been a failed weight cut. Shortly after news of the cancellation broke, Sutherland took to Instagram to address fans directly. In his video message, he said he wanted to be transparent about what happened, explaining that his opponent had been unable to make weight on the morning of the official weigh-ins. "Some of you might have already heard my opponent had to pull out of the fight this morning," Sutherland said. "On weigh-in day he couldn't make the weight. I heard he was a few pounds over and had to go to the hospital. So, the fight's off. Hopefully the UFC gets me another opportunity soon." Sutherland expressed disappointment over the abrupt cancellation but emphasized that he had prepared as a professional and was ready to compete. "I was ready to put on a show for you guys, but unfortunately that's just the way the cookie crumbles," he said. "I'm gutted, but it is what it is. I turned up professional, ready to go, and ready to smash really. I just thought I'd let you know myself." The cancellation is a blow not only to Sutherland but also to the UFC Perth event itself, which had built the heavyweight bout as a key part of its main card lineup. Fans had been looking forward to the clash between Tafa, known for his knockout power, and Sutherland, who has been steadily building his reputation in the division. Weight issues are rare but not unheard of in the heavyweight division, where fighters are allowed up to 265 pounds, with an additional 1 pound allowance for non-title fights. Because of the relatively high limit, fighters at heavyweight seldom miss weight, and when it happens, it's often seen as a serious red flag about a competitor's conditioning or preparation. This latest incident has also added to growing frustration surrounding Justin Tafa's reliability. Having already pulled out of several previous fights, this cancellation has only intensified calls from some fans and analysts for the UFC to reconsider his place on the roster. For Sutherland, the cancelled bout meant a missed paycheck, a wasted training camp, and the loss of a key opportunity to climb the heavyweight rankings. With UFC Perth still moving forward, attention now turns to how the organization will address the fallout from the cancellation and whether Sutherland will be quickly rebooked. While the event retains several exciting matchups, the loss of a marquee heavyweight fight is a significant setback for a card already under intense fan scrutiny.